Next up, from the UK column, we're going to have David Scott. He's a journalist and he's a very knowledgeable man. Please give us a big, big hand for David Scott.
Hello everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand today outside an ugly building that's promoting ugly ideas from ugly sources. Our nation used to be known as the land of the book. Such was the love of learning and truth. The truth about who we are, what we are, and why we are. But under the administration of Nicola Sturgeon, truth has taken a holiday from our land. Truth is now seen as being unfair, unkind, not sufficiently inclusive. For if we discern the difference between truth and lies, right, if we discern the difference between truth and lies, this is unfair to the liars. They might be upset. It's not inclusive to all. Well, not quite all. For here we hit one of the problems. The liars who occupy that building are using our vocabulary, but they're not using our dictionary. When they say inclusive to all, they do not mean you, beautiful people. You are not included in the inclusion. It works like this. An inclusive environment, by their definition, cannot tolerate any speech that offends or might offend a marginalised group. If it did, that would be exclusionary. And the group would find their position worsened. They would multiply, you would multiply and perpetuate their oppression. This offence need not even be experienced by an actual person. Instead, it is sufficient that a potential offence exists to a hypothetical person. Nicola Sturgeon or Humza Yousaf or the Chief Constable Ian Livingstone will stand in proxies for the hypothetical marginalised person and will be offended on their behalf. All of you, however, are not a marginalised group. Under social justice inclusion, your speech must be restricted. Sometimes, as Richard Lucas will testify, you deserve physical exclusion, lest you tell the truth to delicate ears. Let me give you an example of what we're dealing with. In the halls of the University of Edinburgh, once home to David Hume, Joseph Black, Robbie Coltrane, we now have Dr. Sarah Liu. She recently published a tweet. She said, "So sick of people differentiating unconscious bias from racism. Unconscious bias is just a term white people invented to make themselves feel better for being bigots." Ladies and gentlemen, and yes, I did just assume your gender. We pay her salary through our taxes. We send our children to that once great institution to be educated. And she looks at our children's skin colour and judges them bigots if they are too peely-wally for her liking. Now, I know what you're thinking, what a racist, but it's not that. In the dictionary used by the Scottish Government, And according to Nicola Sturgeon, that's not racism. That's called anti-racism. How it works is this. You see, in their definition, a racist is a person who discriminates based on race in a way that reduces equity, everyone having the same outcome. An anti-racist is someone who discriminates based on race in a way that increases equity. So because Scottish Government believe you are all the beneficiaries of white privilege, her hatred for you becomes a virtue in their eyes, and her bigotry becomes a new form of righteousness. This is how backwards and dysfunctional the ideas in Holyrood and throughout the state are. We are in opposite world. Everything is backwards. The prophet Isaiah said, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." That's a description of Holyrood and the whole team. This corrupt mindset, it promotes violence and intolerance, hostility, narrowness of thought, and it's being preached to our children, and not only in universities, but in secondary schools, primary schools, and nurseries. They are deceiving and confusing our children as to who they are and what they are and why they are, and it won't stop there. The very concept of childhood is under attack. And to determine to undermine the protections our society offers children, they must first undermine the people who defend the children, the parents. Corrupt sex education, sexualising children at a young age, is one of the means currently being used for this, but other tools are available via the pushing of children's rights, the ban on reasonable chastisement, and the remaining zombie policy left following the decapitation of the fascist named person legislation. And now we see the appalling group promoting the conversion therapy ban being supported, enabled by the weak, the evil and the stupid inside Holyrood. Did I miss anybody? This would make it a criminal offence to counsel, talk to, pray with, and in any way assist a person seeking to change their sexual orientation, expression of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. It does not matter if the person asks for help. They cannot consent. They're treated like a child. It does not matter if it's helpful. It does not matter if it's successful. It does not matter if the person becomes happier and leads a fuller, richer life. It does not matter if it saves the person from suicidal thoughts and ideation. It'll still be made illegal. Not far from here on the mound is a statue of Scots reformer John Knox. I'll end this by quoting him. He said, "Resistance to tyranny is obedience to God." So let us therefore join together here next Saturday in Glasgow Green, next Sunday in the UK column where we're doing a seminar on education, not indoctrination. Let us join together in obedience to the God of truth, oppose the father of lies, oppose the folly of Nicola Sturgeon, oppose attempts to transform our society against our will and to the detriment of our children. Let us resist tyranny. Yeah!